Two.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Adobe Live Day 2 with myself, Sen Lagos, as your host, and Zia Suarez. Today, we're going to continue working on really cool photos from Zia's perspectives and all of the really neat tips on her workflow. So if you're on YouTube, join us on Behance, on the chat on Behance, and say hello. We already have, of course, Annika in the building, always. And then Oliver, we have Bruce. Bruce, welcome back.
Yay,
Um,
Bruce!
yeah. Lots of people, lots of folks. Ryan,
Yeah.
hey. And we have Jan also. Awesome. And so later today, there's going to be a artist spotlight. And I'm really excited to take a look at that. I think that's going to be really interesting. And remember, you can always recommend an artist for the next Adobe Live spotlight. So that's really cool. So definitely drop it in and recommend some of your friends or yourself. That could be nice. Awesome. So, Sia, can you introduce yourself for those folks who haven't seen yesterday's video? And also remember, you can also replay those videos. So you're welcome to do that. And Sia, let us know a little bit about today's project.
Cool. Hey, everyone. My name is Zia. Welcome back if you were with us yesterday. Yesterday, we went over some lifestyle photography. So I work as a content creator. I'm originally from South Africa, but I'm now based in Barcelona. So I work also in front of the camera. And yeah, so yesterday we covered some lifestyle photos, went over some of the tools like the tone curve, color grading. And today we're going to be doing some water theme photo editing. So action, surfing
Awesome.
action and underwater, and also like split photography
Yeah.
as well.
Ooh, I'm excited for those photos, those underwater photos.
Yay.
Nice. We have Biola also here joining us and Bliss Art. Cool. That's a cool name.
Cool.
Nice. So
Welcome.
let's jump right in.
Cool. So we will be using Lightroom Classic again.
Mm-hmm.
Just gonna move the cameras. Okay, there we go. So we're gonna start off with like just a photo above water. So like surfing, I really love shooting surf photography. And this photo, I was actually shooting with a long lens,
Mm.
and I was on a boat. So actually, the boat was like moving quite a lot. So I'm actually pretty lucky with this shot. Like, I love like we call it the stoke with this person. Like, really happy for this person, like getting the barrel, and yeah. So it's just like one of my favorite surf photos. So I am going to jump right in.
Yeah, I love the enthusiasm captured in that photo. It's like
Yeah,
a really quick moment when it comes to sport photography, right?
yeah. So I'm just gonna play around on the basic panel, which is what I encourage if you're new to Lightroom. Yeah, it's just hang out in the basic panel, just adjust your lighting and
I love Bliss Art said, Bruce is famous and well known out in these Adobe streets.
yeah,
Yes. Yes, this is what happens when you join the chat and we just always get to know you, get to learn a little bit about you. And it's super awesome to be part of that.
yeah, that's super cool. I actually looked at Bruce's profile. He has really great captures of flowers. I really like them.
Mm,
It's Bruce
awesome.
Gonzalez, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Cool. So I'm just
Um,
going back into the tone curve again.
cool.
We spoke a lot about this yesterday, so if you guys want to watch the replay, we spent a lot of time in the tone curve.
Yeah, we definitely got some really cool insights on the tone curve and all the different ways that you can accomplish different styles of editing within just one single area, which I think was really cool.
Yeah, and definitely if you play around, like you can definitely start figuring out what you like and essentially it becoming your own style and your signature style. I think yesterday we spoke about like getting your signature style.
Yeah, being cohesive.
Yeah. Yesterday we also spoke a bit about presets, and if you guys have any questions about presets today, please ask them in the chat. But today I think we're gonna edit everything from scratch. I'll try to be quick though, because I want to cover quite a few photos.
Cool. Yeah, I dropped in the link to Sia's presets website. I think she's very devoted. She has, what was it, over 80? Am
Yeah,
I
I think
overshooting it?
80
Oh,
presets,
okay.
yeah.
There you go. That's really impressive. And so definitely
Yeah,
check those out. It's a good way to get started, have a foundation for your photo, and then continue editing.
yeah.
Mhm.
I think between yesterday and today, we're gonna have like another 10 presets.
Yeah.
But yeah, with presets, it's always like trial and error. So usually when I do develop a preset, I try see how many photos that I can use, or like the maximum amount of photos that I can use, because sometimes one preset just doesn't work for a lot of photos. So it's all about trial and error as well, just adjusting them as you go.
hmm Yeah. It's definitely one of those where like you have to kind of analyze based on each photo, right? Like each photo gives you a different output.
Yeah. So we've just done a little bit of work in the tone curve and color grading. I'm going to go to the hue, saturation, luminance tool, and I think I want to change the color of the water just a little bit, maybe a little bit more teal.
Bruce says, I am no Cia Suarez or Oliver Andrews when it comes to photography, but I'm trying.
Oh no, you're doing a great job. Bruce, you're doing great. Keep it up.
Yeah.
Saturation.
I love all the positivity on the chat. That's where it's about, definitely rooting for each other.
Yeah.
And I think we have a question. Is this a GoPro shot?
No, so this was taken with, I had the Canon, I have the R5 now, but I had the 6D. So this was kind of like an older camera, but
Mm,
yeah, and then it was with the telelens.
a 60, but you were on a boat, right?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah, 60 was my first camera.
Oh,
It's really
wow.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah,
A nice
that's
relic.
crazy. Yeah. And this photo was a few years ago. This was, I think, around three years ago, like just before the pandemic.
Oh, I love that
And
moment. Somebody just cheering you on.
yeah. So yeah, I'm just playing around with the colors now and just seeing. So yesterday we learned that the backslash is the before and after. So this is the before and this is the after. So we're really bringing out more of the blue. And
Cool. And yesterday we learned that you can toggle that little key there on the
yeah,
left hand side just to turn it on and off. You're not losing any of your edits. It's just
yeah,
to kind of have that visibility of that particular panel.
exactly. So yeah, if you just this is just what the tone curve has done. And then if we go to color grading, this is what the color grading has done. It's just made a little bit more blue. And then
Mm,
your saturation luminance, that's actually made it a little bit more teal. So it's also good
yeah,
to go reflect back on each tool, just to like familiarize yourself with what each tool kind of does. And yeah.
cool. Yeah, Elizabeth says, or use the backlash with
Yeah,
backslash. Yeah.
backslash. That's what
Uh,
I use. Yeah.
yeah, the backslash really reflects all the changes from the start to all the
Exactly.
property changes you've modified. Whereas toggling this dial would be particularly to a singular panel, so it can give you a bit more control over what you want to see or unsee.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the colors are okay. This when we turn up the temperature a little bit, it's starting to bring the mountain in the back.
Hmm.
which I think is quite nice to get the whole environment of the photo. Mm, there is something over here. I think it was a water photographer, so I'm just gonna take it out. Just in case someone thinks it's like a shark or something.
Yeah. What was it? Oh my
It was
God,
a
that's starting to look like an alligator.
yeah, exactly. Like it looks like there's someone there, right? Like a animal or something. But yeah, it was just I
Yeah.
think it was a water photographer.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
It's not like the lagoon monster or anything like that.
Could be. Maybe it was.
It's
I
so
don't know.
funny because sometimes you just see a little if you're into fishing, if you just see like a dark
Mm,
spot on the water, just like that could be a school of fish or really big fish.
exactly. Yeah. The same as when you're
Or a
surfing.
cameraman, a water cameraman. Now we
Oh,
have a third option.
watch out for those.
Yeah.
Um, now I'm just playing around in luminance with the color picker tool. Just holding down just to see what it looked like if I did brighten up the blue a bit. But I think it was fine. Really nice.
Yeah. I think that was nice. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Bruce
before
asked, do
nothing.
you ever worry about sharks?
Yeah, but it's better to not worry about sharks because then you like ruin your whole session.
Yeah. It's better not to
So
think about it
yeah.
and just find them in the post editing session. Surprise yourself. Also,
Yeah.
they're you know, they're in their territory and they're
Yeah.
not going to be hostile unless there's threats, right?
Yeah.
That's just Jaws. That was just a movie. It's just a movie with
Yeah.
really good soundtrack. Dun, dun. That was epic. Yes,
Yeah.
we agree.
A classic.
Yeah, classic.
So for
Also, I love the
cropping,
poster. I don't know if anyone remembers the poster. It was like fully, like mostly like the 90% water. I don't know, the graphic design in me just tapped into that just now.
oh yeah, yeah, me too. Yeah.
Yeah, remember? Yeah. It's a good composition. Now we're cropping here.
Yeah, now I kind of want to just put the focus on these two. And also
Okay.
for social media, so that's why I'm cropping it on 4:5 because social media allows only for that. Um,
Oh, okay.
and then, well, Instagram specifically. So I would do something like this if I was gonna post it on my Instagram. I think something like that would be, yeah,
Yeah, so you start to do some cropping based on like where you're going to share it.
yeah,
Hmm.
absolutely.
Oh, that's really nice. I actually kind of like that better than having the other person there because they weren't adding much to it.
Yeah, and yeah, this is sort of like, just like
I love
a
the
pure
relationship
stoic,
between the two.
yeah, like just total pure happiness. So,
Oh,
and
yes.
then this is the
It's
before and after.
it's wild what a crop how a crop can just switch your entire composition. There's so many
Yeah,
opportunities in post to just play around with your crop tool to be able to find a brand new angle that maybe you didn't have the time because you had to take a picture so quickly, right?
yeah.
Hmm.
And
Really cool there.
I had like the whole sequence of this as well. So yeah, it's
Oh, okay.
yeah, this
So
was the
plenty to
best
pick
one.
from.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. Cool. So if anyone doesn't have any questions, then I'll just move on to the next photo.
I have a question. Did you use like a fast shutter? Is that because a
Yeah,
60 didn't?
exactly.
Yeah, okay. I know
Yeah,
the R5 has like a really fast shutter.
yeah, exactly. So there wasn't a lot of photos in the sequence.
Okay.
Yeah, there was not a lot. I think maybe
Yeah,
like five. So I was really lucky with the shot.
you got lucky.
Yeah.
Luck plays an element there, definitely.
Yeah, totally. Okay, I'm gonna move on to the next photo.
Okay, cool.
This was also like a water photo. This was in El Salvador, and there are a lot of like pelicans that fly over the
Oh,
ocean, and it's
wow.
like super beautiful. So I'm just putting up the exposure a bit so that I can see what's going on, and then I'm going to straighten the horizon.
It's interesting. This photo also started a little bit darker, right? I think you
Yeah,
had a tip for that um, during your shooting session to shoot darker.
yeah. So it's better to underexpose when you're doing the actual shooting instead of overexposing because you lose a lot of information when you overexpose your photo. So for editing, it's better to have it underexposed.
It's so dreamy. What a cool picture.
Yeah. Um, I really like the sky. Like there's like little clouds in the background.
Yeah. Is there more clouds? I wonder. It's one of those moments where you just increase that luminance or decrease it, or and sometimes you find other things or dehaze
Yeah,
it,
yeah. We'll get to that. Just this is like a kind of trick that
like a
I do.
quick, yeah. LeBron Vic said, which camera was used here to take this picture? The previous picture was a 60, correct?
Yes,
Right?
and
Yeah.
this was
And this one.
The R5.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So here we go. If you can denote some changes or differences,
Oh yeah,
though
100%.
sometimes it happens during your shooting. You just have more
Yeah,
options.
yeah. So I'm using the clone heal tool to move. So this was what it looked like originally. There was a space between the two birds in the front, so I'm just gonna move this bird to sort of fill the line. I use this tool quite a lot to move things around. I mean, you can do this in Photoshop, but I like to do it in Lightroom because it's super easy.
Yeah.
So we're just moving these two birds over onto into like a straight line.
Quite literally cloning.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then and
Really cool.
then I'm just gonna remove the ones that I've already cloned. So yeah, I think that gives it like a better composition.
Okay.
So we can go. Okay.
I mean, Blizzard said, I wonder if doing the same would work for iPhone pictures. And actually, this we touched a little bit on this yesterday, so you're welcome to check that out and do a replay. We chatted a little bit about doing different presets for different kind of equipment. So Zia has a nice collection for GoPros, and I think that like for an iPhone photo, it would probably be treated slightly different too. And that's kind of the neat part of having a preset collection because you can cater to different equipments.
Yeah. Yeah, we spoke a little bit about the GoPro preset pack that I have. I actually do have a couple of GoPro photos that we'll probably, hopefully, we'll be editing today if we have time.
Yes, we must have time. I want to see those GoPro photos. Yeah, but you have the 360, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. Don't always
the
shoot in 360. You could shoot in GoPro, right? Regular.
yeah the 360 doesn't really work that great for underwater or water
Oh,
because
right.
if you get like a little tiny drop, you kind of it kind of messes with
Loose.
it. Yeah,
Yeah. You have to get like a underwater casing. I've
yeah,
seen it. It's like a bubble.
yeah, exactly.
Looks very high tech. A bubble underwater.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, now I'm just changing a little bit of the hue saturation luminance panel. Uh,
Cool. Yeah, Bruce says, we'd love to see those as well. So we have definitely Team GoPro.
okay. So color grading is also one of my favorite panels to like kind of hang out in for a bit and see how I can change like the midtones, the shadows, and the highlights. This is a bit too blue, I think.
Yeah, Annika's asking, so what inspires Azia to take these photographs? It's a really good
Uh,
question.
I just like any excuse to be in the ocean, near the water.
Yeah,
I really love being in the ocean or near the ocean or
yeah,
in the
that's
ocean
honest.
too. It's yeah.
Yeah, so like your work from home is work from ocean, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. I have to find a way to have that same excuse.
Yeah.
Blizzard says hashtag water life.
I love that. Going through everything.
Hashtag work from the ocean.
Well, yesterday we edited a photo with the when I was working on the boat.
Oh
You got
yeah.
if you guys were watching yesterday, there was like a work from home kind of editing session going on.
And Bruce asks, is this another bow capture as well?
No,
Is this
this was from the water.
oh, okay,
So
so fell friend
yeah,
from the
I
water. Okay.
I have the equipment here that I was going to show you guys when I moved on to the next photo, but since you guys asked, um, this shot was taken in the water. This is the sort of like dome. So this is for like a wide angle lens, so like your 16 to 35 millimeter lens. And this is perfect for the half and half kind of shots that you get. And then this is the Aquatech water housing for the yeah, it's pretty cool. Every time like I go somewhere, everyone was like, "What is that thing?" Like, it's so it's kind of difficult and tricky to travel with, but yeah, it's still loads of fun.
Yeah, it's
To,
nice and it's big, but it's securing your camera.
yeah, and it has like these really big like clamps that really protect the camera from getting wet. So a lot of
Yeah,
trust
that's
in that.
a lot of trust. Yeah.
Yeah.
It mostly works, right? That's always the
Yeah.
question.
Yeah,
It's a
it so
gamble.
so far it works.
Okay.
Or
That's good
this
to
is
know.
yeah. This is the before and after. So we just use the clone tool to move the birds over into a line. We straighten the horizon and then we just adjusted the tones. Yeah, that's what we got.
Mm.
Any questions?
I think the
Or should I
folks
move on?
missed a little bit on like the maybe the red underwater housing. Can you tell us a little bit
Oh,
more about that? Yeah.
so this is the for the Canon R5. So you'll have to get one specific for your camera. And this is from Aquatech. And yeah, it kind of looks like this. And you can change the ports depending on your lens.
Nice.
And it's like clear on the side so you can see what's going on. And it's always best to make sure that the settings are of the camera are set before you put it inside, because then
Mm.
it becomes a bit tricky when you start when you get in the water, and to try change settings, it's quite difficult. So yeah.
Yeah, so the first one was for a GoPro and the second one's for a DSLR or a regular point and
Oh,
shoot camera.
so you mean this thing?
The first one was for the GoPro, right?
No,
The
this is
dome.
for this. So this goes on here.
Oh, okay. So it's an
Yeah.
attachment. Okay.
Yeah, so or you
Cool.
change, so yeah, this is more for your like regular like portrait lenses, or like say for your all-rounder lenses. And then this is for more of the wide angle lens. So like I use the 16 to 35 millimeter wide angle to put in here, and then you just change depending on, yeah. This one's quite yeah, like as I mentioned, it's quite tricky because you it's mostly for if you're shooting totally underwater or half and half. But if you're shooting directly above, like for this photo, for example, if you
Yeah.
get like little dots or like water specks on here, then it kind of like ruins the photo. So
Mm,
yeah, it's you have
right.
to sort of choose what style you're gonna do before you head into the water.
Yeah. I've definitely seen those underwater half and halves. It's interesting to learn how those are accomplished.
Yeah, it's actually really tricky, but
Yeah.
yeah, if you have the right equipment, and also dishwashing liquid
Really awesome.
or soap helps a bit.
Somebody said, Oliver Andrew said, expensive kit for protecting expensive kit.
Yeah,
Well said, I think.
exactly. Cool. So should I move on?
Yeah, I think so. Are we doing like an underwater next? I see it there on the left hand
Yeah.
there.
So these photos are quite tricky to edit because, as I mentioned yesterday, once you submerge and you go under the water, you start losing a lot of light, a lot of color. So your skin tones, your white balance, you lose like a lot. So to bring back the colors, it's quite tricky.
Mm.
So it will probably take a while. Oh wait, this is reset the photo. Okay. So the first thing I do when I'm editing photos underwater, it's to use the white balance tool, and then start just moving around. And on the top right hand, the top left hand corner, you can see like a little preview, and you can see what it would look like where if you would pick a point on the image. This doesn't always work. So if we do that, it brings the skin tones back, which is good. That's what we're looking for. And then we're just gonna move her on and then come back to the pink that's happening at the top there. So the water is also quite dense. So we also try, when we're editing, we try to make the water a lot lighter and seem more clear. So we can do that by going to the hue, and then we just start playing around with the hue, saturation. And there's sometimes a lot of green in the images as well. The water often seems a lot greener, so it's always good to just play with the saturation and then see which parts are green, and then just try to turn that down.
Do you find like a certain color palette quite frequently underwater? Like besides blue, is it like green or um yellows because of corals or something of that nature?
It's mostly greens and like, yeah, like yellow. Sometimes on the rocks there'll be like the seaweed is often yellow.
Mm.
Um, yeah. So now we're making it seem like a little bit more clear and blue in the back, which I quite like. And go down. This is also the calibration panel is quite makes like quite a lot of difference as well when you start playing with the shadows and tint, and then your blues as well.
Is that one of your friends who we photographed, or like just a fellow diver roaming
Uh,
around, found in the ocean?
it's a friend from Canary Islands. He's a local
Oh,
there, and he kind of showed us the spot, and it was so magical. It was like super blue. So, and also when you're shooting, especially with underwater, it's good to remember like kind of what the colors look like. So when you're editing, you're trying to bring back the colors that's lost through the photograph. So yeah, I
yeah.
remember the water was like super like turquoise, beautiful blue. So that's why I'm also trying to kind of bring that back a bit.
Right. That's interesting to note that because, yeah, oftentimes the editing process relies not just on what is in the photograph, but also what you remember to be like in real life. And you want to be able to either replicate that, highlight that a little bit more, bring that back where maybe the
Yeah,
tech sort of didn't meet it quite.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a cool way to approach it too, by memory. And Annika asks, what's Sia's favorite part of the process? And I wonder if she means by either the editing process, which I'm curious about, and also the photographing part.
I both actually. I
Yeah.
never really thought of it. I think I really enjoy the editing part because, when you're in the moment, it's, you have all this like bulky equipment and it's just
Mm,
like kind of stressful. But afterwards, you really get to sit and appreciate, the work you've done and try get the best results that you can from the session.
yeah. Yeah, it's like almost a surprise once you're selecting your photos, right? Because you can't see them, much like
Yeah.
film. Or can you see them during? I don't think you can, right?
Oh no. Unless it's like unless it's like a Polaroid, that prints out.
Yeah, like underwater, you wouldn't be able to. Cool. And what's your favorite part of the editing process?
My favorite part, I think, is getting the balance back and
Mm,
like just bringing the colors back to how I remembered it. Um, it's the thing is, it's quite a challenge, and I often love like challenges. So I just and it's always different, It's not like a preset that you can use and it just magically makes the photo amazing or the way you want it. It's you have to go through quite a lot of things, and I've practiced it a lot as well. And I remember like I've watched like a lot of videos as well and stuff of people editing underwater photos. So now I feel like I kind of have the skill. So I like to apply that.
yeah. Yeah, that's interesting too, because you sort of acquire the skill by just practicing over and over, even if you don't have it. And then
Yeah.
suddenly it's like, I think I'm getting there.
Yeah. And it kind of feels like, you've accomplished something. And yeah.
Yeah.
So yesterday we used some masks. We used the Select Sky mask. We used, I think, the Select Subject as well. And today we're going to use the linear, I think it's called the linear gradient mask, which is, oh wait. So we're going to select that and we're going to just pull this down from the top because we want to get rid of that kind of like pinky color. And then we're just going to go over to the tint and then just take the pink out by lowering the tint, putting it to more of a green. Yeah.
Yeah, so the masks, as we explored yesterday, there's different ways of approaching the masks. I think yesterday you used quite a bit of brushing, so that's a good way to kind of focus in on a certain element. And today, which one are you using? Are you using the linear?
Linear gradient, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what,
There's a lot of ways.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we're just pulling it from the top and then just it takes that pink that we were having before and it does such a great job. It's such an amazing tool. And then we do have like these pink, I think they're like bubbles or particles floating around, but that doesn't really usually happen. Usually there's like a few of them and then I would just take them out with the clone heal tool. But I think for now we're just gonna have to keep it the way it is. So let's just go before and after. So this is the before and this is the after. So we've brought back the skin tones. The water seems a little bit less dense. Um, but yeah, we still have like, there's a few, we haven't touched the tone curve and we haven't touched the color grading yet, which we can get into as
Okay.
well. But I'm just gonna do one more linear gradient. This is also really cool to do for, yeah, like underwater photos to make it seem, to give it a little bit more depth is just to do another linear gradient and then bring down shadows. Kind of gives it that depth.
We're having an interesting conversation right now about how sometimes you can't always capture exactly what you see in real life into a photograph. And I love how Oliver and Bruce are having this conversation about this. And Oliver says sometimes you just have to renounce that you can't quite capture it, and that's okay. Real life is real life, right?
Yeah,
That's awesome. Hmm. You just got to be there. That also
yeah,
counts.
yeah.
And then Jonathan says it's really cool. Loving Reverb Micah says it's loving the gradients, very old school. And then
Cool.
we did have a question here, which is interesting. Do you sometimes provide maybe a practice photo, a raw photo that folks can practice the editing? If not now, maybe if you think of that in the future.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, totally. So, yeah, I think maybe going back to the gradient on the top, I'm going to just lower the temperature a bit so we can get a little bit more blue.
I think we all agree on the chat is important to be here now, to just be present. Uh, yes, that is a good message to have for the day.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, that is super important as well.
Alberto asks, Hey Zia, do you usually mask the subjects to do the color grading of the skin separately?
Oh, should I just... I do, but I think when I use the white balance tool, I sort of got the skin tones that I wanted in this particular photo. But most of the time, I do use the select subject tool, which I can show you. So it's the first mask, select subject. Yeah, I mean, Lightroom does such a great job of capturing the subject in the mask. And then usually what you would do is you would just turn up the temperature
Mm.
because when you go underwater, you lose a lot of the like your oranges and yeah, and reds, I think. So yeah, you could turn it up, just doing it drastically so you guys can see it. But yeah, it'll be something like that.
Mm. Yeah, it helps that your surroundings don't have too much red. So you get this really nice isolation already for the subject's skin.
Yeah. So
It's a
we have
quick
to,
way to do that.
yeah, it is super quick because usually you would go in and you would have to like minus some of the mask because sometimes the mask will latch onto something else like a rock or, but I think it did it pretty good. It
Mhm.
selected the entire subject, which is, I would maybe remove the fins, especially if I'm turning up the skin tones quite a bit. I would remove like the fins, for example, or other parts that I don't want the temperature to be on. So, but I'll just do that for now. So if we just compare the before and after, I think in luminance we can go a little bit up with the aqua and blue.
Mm, very different. Yeah, Alberto also asked, you usually retouch it with HSL, hue saturation luminance. Yeah, I think she's doing a little bit of that, and we definitely were exploring it more in depth, I think yesterday as well.
Yeah, with the skin tones in the saturation and luminance, right? Yeah.
Yes.
So
Blizzard says, whenever I'm out snapping pics with my iPhone, that's the biggest part of it for me. It really helps to be very present and appreciate my surroundings. What do you think about that, Zia?
yeah, that's great.
Hmm.
I because I'm living in the city now, but I'm from like I grew up in South Africa, so we had a lot of nature and stuff. So now whenever I do go out in nature, like I really learn to like appreciate it so much more and like not take it for
Yeah,
granted. So yeah, I kind of feel like that.
absolutely. I think that's part of why these photo series are so inspirational, because we have um, an attachment to nature. It's very natural
Yeah,
to us.
yeah.
They're also joking. Sometimes my finger gets in the way of my shot. Yeah, that's like the thing that happens when you're shooting with your phone. I definitely have like I think I'm a pretty good photographer, and yet that has happened to me too.
That reminds me of the time when I had my first film camera and the entire roll after I got it developed had my finger in in the
Oh
corner
no, in
or
a
the
film
whole
camera.
or over the whole screen. Yeah, it was
Wow.
so bad, like such a waste.
Oh wow.
But at least if you're with your phone, then it's kind of
You notice it
not too bad.
pretty
Yeah, you
quickly.
notice it straight away. Yeah. So I am gonna go to detail and
Oh, LeBron had a question. I think I saw this earlier. How would you give more neatness to the picture? I mean, to get a result that is less blurry, to appreciate the surroundings in the picture. So I guess to achieve a bit more clarity, or yeah, so if you don't have too much of that, um,
yeah.
yeah, what
Um,
do you think?
I was just about to talk about that now. So we're
Mm,
gonna go to
great.
detail. And yeah, we're just gonna sharpen the image a little bit more, add some detail, some sharpening.
Yeah, I think a few came to mind: detail sharpening, dehaze.
Yeah,
Um, clarity.
Noise reduction. I'm just seeing what each of these do.
Yeah, also it's really nice to have a photo. We were just talking about film, and I think having some photos that are have that foggy, blurry look can be also an appeal to emulate that film look.
Yeah.
It's a bit imperfect, but it definitely gives that nostalgic look to it. It's really nice.
Yeah. It's also, yeah, what kind of style you want to go for as well.
Yeah, it's your choice. That's pretty exciting.
Yeah. Just kind of going through all of these and seeing what they do. But essentially the detail panel is just to bring back some more of the clarity. And then we can just toggle this on and off and see if it really, yeah, it's not much of a difference. So I think we can go in a little bit higher with the sharpening. And then we can go also to the basic panel and then just add a little bit more clarity as well.
Hmm.
And dehaze. I always like using the basic panel as like a last resort because it actually it's where it makes the most difference
Oh,
because it does the overall image. So, and then yeah, it's kind of where you finish off.
interesting. So as opposed to the order of it being the first thing to edit,
Yeah,
using as your last resource to kind of finish
yeah,
it.
yeah. Sometimes just if I can't see what's going on in the image, I'll just up the exposure a bit.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I just leave that for one of the last things.
Yeah, it's good
Unless,
to revisit it.
yeah, unless I'm working with the preset, then I kind of just hang out in the basic panel. Because yeah, the basic panel like does the overall, so it'll bring up the overall exposure, overall contrast, highlights, and etc. So yeah, we can add like quite a lot of highlight if we want, or even this. We could add another mask if we want. We could try use the radial gradient, which is like a circle or
Hmm.
semicircle.
We
And
have we have a few folks joining us. And so for those of you who are just joining us, we're editing with Zia some really cool underwater photos, taken with several different types of cameras, which I found fascinating so far. And I think we have some fans of film
oh
in the
yeah,
chat
well,
also. Yeah.
you guys should watch yesterday's replay because we did some foam editing. We are trying to like imitate foam in one of my photos. So yeah, if you guys were here yesterday, let us know, the foam guys. So this is kind of just creating like a more of a glowing effect. Trying to get those like sun rays coming through.
Hmm. That's so interesting. It's kind of like the so creating like a point where your subject is going.
Yeah, exactly. Could even do it on the side.
I feel like I haven't edited photos in quite a bit, and this is making me want to like bring a batch and just start playing. you know how you always have like these really cool photos that don't have a particular purpose for anything, but you just know they're good. And so you're like,
Yeah.
wow, one of these days I could just like get lost in Lightroom and play
Yeah.
around.
I actually love doing this live as well because I don't usually spend this much time editing my photos and like going through everything. So it's been super beneficial for me too, I think. And I've really
Nice.
enjoyed it.
Encouraging both ways. Cool.
Yeah. So, something like that. We can check the before and after. So this is before and the after.
Oh, so Bruce says, I bet Sia, Sin, and Oliver could answer this question. How many SD cards? I feel like it's like a trivia question. How many SD cards does everyone roll with one photo excursion? How many SD cards do you need, I guess? Hmm, depends, right?
Oh,
Sometimes you can get
yeah.
one single hefty one.
Yeah. Like a
Yeah.
128.
Yeah, fast. Fast is
Yeah.
where it's the key, a fast SD card so you don't miss your shots. And I definitely like to have a backup just in case something happens. And that often that something could be anything, even as you become a robust photographer. I've had my moments where I'm like, oh wait, my SD card is back in my computer slot. And you just need to have another one. So it's always good to have backups just in case. I think that's
Yeah.
the key.
Yeah, there's been quite a few times where I've left the house with no SD cards
Yeah.
because they've been in the slot copying from the day before or something, and that's
Yeah.
the worst.
Well, been there. Also, I imagine if something gets wet, which I really hope nothing does. Apparently nothing does, but
Yeah.
um yeah, my relationship with water and tech is very, very panic ridden.
Yeah, right.
I'm always like, get your water away from my computer.
Yeah. Like I have
Um
this glass here is like freaking me out. Like I'm having
yeah, my
nightmares
glass
about
is
this.
like all the way over here.
Oh, nice.
Because I like just imagine, okay, so fall up to here. Water travels. And nothing
Yeah,
bad's ever happened to me, and yet it's worked out in my favor.
exactly.
But yeah.
That's why it hasn't happened because you've been careful.
Yeah, I commend you for doing all the underwater photography. It definitely drives my interest. It's super, I know it's like a hefty budget to have for any beginner photographer, but
Yeah.
it's definitely like there's definitely options. I think GoPro's a really good option to just start playing around and collect maybe some underwater shots yourself and practice editing with this replay.
Yeah. Yeah, I can send you guys the raw if you guys want to follow along and try edit these photos as well.
Yeah,
I can do that. Yeah.
that sounds awesome.
Should we go on to a GoPro photo?
Yeah.
So does anyone everyone's good
Start.
with this photo, right? Like no more questions?
Uh, let's see. Do we have the before and after? Ooh, I love the next photo.
So yeah, here's the before and after.
I think we have a debate on how many SD cards can you fit in your bag? It's like I imagine a ton.
A lot, yeah.
Um, yeah, Bliss R says, and me on the other hand, I've spilled butter coffee on my laptop. Yep. Butter
No,
coffee.
oh
Wow.
no.
That sounds really funny though. But what happened? Buttered coffee.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I think we're good on this photo. This came out really cool. I love being able to see your process, and I can see more of the terrain beneath the water that I couldn't see
Yeah,
on the first one.
yeah. It isn't, I wouldn't say it's done. There are like, a lot of these particles and there's a line here. I would usually try get rid of that. But I think for this photo, it kind of gives it a little something different. So
Yeah. Oliver says this photo looks amazing.
Yay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, it's never done. We can't press that done button. It's
Yeah,
just never done.
we'll just move on. Okay, so this was shot with a GoPro in South Africa. And yeah, it's a little seal. I think I might just try to see what my GoPro presets would do, but maybe we should edit. This looks kind of cool. I think
Cool. The
maybe,
presets.
yeah. See, there's
Yeah,
always one that kind of works. So it's
the
good to
presets can
have
be
something.
surprising.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, you can still manage to continue editing if maybe you like the color of the presets giving you on the water, but not quite on your subject, then it's still something you can modify. And I think it's all about working non-destructively.
yeah.
So presets are not going to just kind of take away the artistry from you. I think it's one of my best rules is to use it as a foundation, as I think Zia used them yesterday. And I
Yeah.
think you can continue to play with it.
Yeah. So with this preset, it kind of made the subject like really red. Um, so I'm just bringing down the saturation in the hue saturation luminance panel. And and then the water as well, we can make it a little bit more clear, I think.
Claddy just joined us in the chat. Hey, Claddy.
Hey.
Awesome.
So yeah, I kind of just like hang out, play around in with the colors. GoPro is usually quite intense. Like a lot of people that mostly shoot on GoPro, they have like really intense style, like super blue, super like teal, turquoise kind of blue, which is always fun. So kind of try to recreate that.
Awesome. Yeah, that's looking really nice. It's always
So
good to have a contrast of colors. We have the cool blue and then the warmth on your subject.
yeah. So if you look at the original image, it's kind of like a gray kind of seal. So.
Reverb Mike is always funny in the chat. Seal the deal. Nice. I forgot what was the earlier one, but you had a really funny one earlier too.
Yeah. So yeah.
And for those of you who are just joining us, stick around. We were going to be having a artist spotlight in about 30 minutes or so, and it's going to be really interesting because we just love pumping up other photographers too, all of you folks in our community. So definitely stick around for that as we continue editing with Zia on Lightroom Classic.
I think it's so cool that we did the artist spotlight.
Yeah. I know I remember doing those in school, those portfolio reviews, and my professor always saying, don't just say it's good.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
truly give me something. Oh,
Yeah.
it's cool. No, no. And I always remember that to this day. I'm like, oh, maybe you like, the color approach, maybe, different things. But she was like,
Okay.
don't just say it's good.
I'll try not to use those words as well. I
Yeah, I love that.
think we kind of achieved like really clear kind of blue water.
I love Blizzard's like that sounded like a radio announcement, a Lightroom classic. Yeah, I'm working on that voice. I definitely think some folks here on live streams, on Adobe live streams, are so much better at it. I'm joking. I'm not really working on that, but it
No,
came out
I think
good.
it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like super new to live streams, so it's yeah, everyone sounds amazing.
Yeah. Live
Yeah.
streams are fun. It's definitely a different criteria.
Yeah. So now a lot of the times when I edit underwater photos, I try to remove like as many particles and specks in the water. And I do that by going to the heel clone brush. And then when you check visualize spots, you can sort of play around with yeah, it's like the black and white. And you can see where we have the
Mm,
most prominent kind of like particles or bubbles and oh,
interesting. I think this is a question that LeBron Vick had. How do we get rid of white dots?
okay.
Um, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean we could kind of be here quite a while. Just I'm just gonna do the main ones because sometimes there's like little bits of seaweed or larger bubbles. And it's always good to remove something that could distract your image from the subject. So kind of doing like this. Like this tool is also used, you can use it for when you're editing, for example, portraits and you want to get rid of blemishes or imperfections. This is what you would use.
Did you use a shortcut to get to this panel or went
No,
directly to it?
I
Okay.
went to the like it's a band-aid
Hmm.
and yeah, so you just click on that and then starting to get rid of them. So yeah, so it's like right at the top of the basic panel. You have next to your crop, you have the clone heel brush tool, and you can change the size and the feather, but I think we're good on the feather now. And then I see there's just a couple here. But yeah, you guys get the idea.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely one of those painstaking
Yeah.
process, but that different preview gives you more visibility, much easier.
Yeah. I think that's something new. We didn't go over that yesterday.
Yeah, that's definitely different. Um, we have some folks listening to the stream on the background while they're working. Claudia's working. That's so cool. I love doing that. It's one of my favorite things about live streams because I can join in on the chat and say hello while I'm working on a project besides everyone else.
Yeah. It's kind of like listening to a podcast, I guess.
Yeah, more interactive, but definitely, yeah. You could just like listen to the chat.
Yeah. If you really sort of like kind of know Lightroom in your head, like all the features and the tools, I think when you listen to this, you can sort of also imagine um, what is happening. So that's cool. So sometimes I go to the lens corrections and just kind of see, okay, nothing's happening here. But usually with GoPro, the lens is quite distorted because it's super wide. And then I would just, depending on the photo, just sort of, you know, change the distortion. But this one's okay.
Mm. So in this round, do we on these round of photos, do we ever touch Photoshop or you like kind of your workflow being predominantly Lightroom?
We can if we have time.
Mm. You
But
have some
yeah,
time.
okay, cool. Yeah, we can try
Yeah.
see which photo we can put in Photoshop. But so basically this would be editing a GoPro. I do have another example. So GoPro is it's a lot about showing yourself in an environment. So GoPros are usually a lot of selfies. So I do have a selfie here, and I just wanted to show you with the distortion tool in okay, so in lens corrections. So my face is quite because of the wide angle, my face looks kind of like distorted. And what I do is I usually bring up that just that amount and then just crop, and then you can see the before and after. I feel like I'm a little bit further out the image and a little bit
Mm.
more in proportion. So that's kind of a hack that I do with the GoPro
Oh, nice.
image. So if we do before and after, it kind of it shows yourself more in the context of your surrounding. So yeah, that's just why I wanted to show you. We don't have to spend any more time on this photo.
Hmm. I
um
think, yeah, we forget that our lenses or our cameras distort the image. And there's
yeah,
definitely like different ways of in the lens correction or in the transform panels to modify that.
yeah, totally. Okay, so we can try do a half and half photo now. um I am going to bump up the exposure so we can see what's going on. And then as you can see, like there's this kind of like vignette going on, and that is from the lens port. So I think it's
Oh,
either the lens port or it could even be um, just the actual wide angle of the lens. So we can go to profile. So under lens corrections, if you go to just check these two, yeah, it kind of starts removing the kind of corrects the wide angle. So that's pretty cool. So I'm going to leave that on. Really depends on the photo if you do want to have that kind of distortion from the wide angle or if you want to remove it. It's totally up to you. So I am just going to do some work in the basic panel because I think we've gone through the tone curve. Usually here I would go through the tone curve. Should I go over it quickly or
go over the tone curve.
yeah,
Yeah, if you feel that it will help the photo process, the workflow.
yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I can already see a lot more visibility within like the water section.
Yeah. So start just bringing the
Oliver
tones.
says GoPros are very, very, very wide. Yeah, it's almost like unrealistic in some ways. You can always tell when it's a GoPro shot.
Yeah. It's kind of, yeah, it's just like a total different style of photography. And it's mostly for like, it's great for action sports or just any environment where you kind of want to show yourself in the context of things.
Yeah.
So just by doing that, we've kind of got some tones going on. So that's cool.
Yeah, Mike says sometimes people's heads are in the fisheye and they wind up with huge foreheads. Yeah. Yeah, it's like the distortion depends on how distant the distance that you keep from the camera lens to you. So yeah, selfies are tricky, but sometimes it's perfect because you get the landscape.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then that's what you do post editing because you can modify that.
Yeah.
We have a lot of techies in the chat. Is this the R5 in the waterproof casing?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Oh, nailed it.
Yeah. You can see it already has a lot more quality than the GoPro.
Yeah, and you got to do that half and half. I see that in
Yeah.
this one.
So we can try to do the select sky by using the mask, and then I think it kind of selected part of the face, so I am just going to, oh wait, um, what are you, negative, wait,
Yeah, we love masks.
mask is super cool. Okay. Alright.
You could also select it as an inverse if you want to select the opposite.
Yeah, so if you say invert mask, you
Mm-hmm.
can select that, but
It's an easy way to do that.
yeah. Um, Oh, there we go. I was looking for this part here. So if you want to remove some of what the mask has selected, usually with the sky, it sometimes does attach to other parts of the photograph. So we just go with the negative, and then we can say brush, and then it's got the negative on the brush, and we're just gonna add a bit more feather, and then you can start removing whatever has been selected with the sky. And that's seems fine. So now we have this mask in the sky, so we can start playing around with the colors, the highlights. Maybe we want to bring more definition to the clouds. We can add a little bit more temperature or tint. And I think a little bit more highlights would be better. We could also add less clarity or more if we want more definition or not. Um, Yeah, we did something similar yesterday with the sunset on the beach.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we can just, well, we can leave that for now. And then what I do want to do is I do want to try bring a little bit more clarity to the water. So I'll be using a linear gradient for that, and then just pulling that up. And then we can start playing a little bit with the clarity. And then also see what happens when we add a little bit more
Mm-hmm.
temperature and tint.
Elizabeth Mock says this is an awesome shot.
Yeah, it was in the Maldives.
Oh
It was
wow.
such a
Do
great
you
trip.
do you travel to these locations for photo shoots or to explore? Like what is your main motivation?
So this, I was pretty lucky with this. My uncle kind of decided to do a family trip in the Maldives.
Mm,
So he got us a boat, and he kind of like invited whoever of the family wanted to go. So yeah, but most of the time I do travel for work, which is cool too.
yeah, absolutely. It's always cool to go on family trips.
Yeah. Yeah, I went with my uncle because like I think he does it like every year. So this year we were in Costa Rica. So that was fun.
Yeah, we love Costa Rica. So beautiful.
Yeah. So just yeah, bringing some more clarity to the
Mm.
bottom.
Bruce says, does Sia take different exposure shots for details? I learned that from Paco and Sean. Just curious.
No, I don't.
Hmm.
But that is interesting.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, I'd actually love to learn more about that.
Yeah, some
Or
com I imagine it's requires some compositing. So some bringing some pictures together
yeah,
um of, I think it was kind of necessary, depends on the conditions of the day. You sometimes want to expose for um, the sky and then expose something else for something darker and then bring them together in
Yeah.
either Photoshop or do like a dual editing in Lightroom.
Yeah, sometimes also with the underwater photography and the half and half, sometimes
Mm.
you'll have the bottom that's in focus, and then sometimes you'll have the top that's in focus, and then you bring those two and in Photoshop.
Mm. Okay.
But I think in this case, it was just this was like the only good one. So
Yeah, sometimes you just have to have a nice aperture that lets you focus on everything.
yeah. So kind of
This is a interesting question. Are you the only photographer in the family? In the
yes.
family trips? That's a lot of responsibility.
Yes. Yeah, it is. I wish like I know so many photographers that are absolutely amazing and they had like a parent that was a photographer that kind of inspired them. And I studied architecture. And so I didn't even study photography. I mentioned yesterday that I was working as a social media manager. It was kind of like a side job for while I was studying. And then I started creating the content I was working for restaurants, so I was doing the social media for restaurants. And then I was doing the content of like the food in the restaurants and the lifestyle in the restaurants of like the people. And then that's also what inspired my lifestyle photography. And then,
Mm.
yeah,
That's so interesting because you never really know what takes you in that direction. You just sort of
yeah,
find something that intrigues you and just like persist on
yeah,
it. Yeah. Yeah, we all have a different origin story.
yeah. So yeah, I never thought that I would ever actually be a photographer. But I'm so glad that I got pulled in this direction. So because
Hmm.
I get to do like really cool things.
Yeah.
And also like want to encourage people that who a lot of the times they ask me like, "Hey, how can I do what you do? How do I become a photographer?" There's so
Hmm.
many resources available online where you can just like, I mean, I taught myself. So if you want to start, you don't know where to start, like YouTube, there's so many tutorials, just the
Yeah.
internet in general, like, and then practice, like a lot of practice.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely like a huge library of resources out there. You just sort of have to like resort to the one that helps you learn best, right? Because
Yeah.
sometimes like the short forms could be not as easily uh like preserved in your mind. And I feel like sometimes for me is like the long form education that works out for me, or sometimes community education like this, because
Mhm.
it starts to kind of feel a bit more interactive. Uh, but the whole point is y'all are doing it right already because you're in the chat and you're joining us today, and
Yeah.
you're learning a little bit of something from artists around your community. So that's already a great step.
Yeah, that is, yeah, just start surrounding yourself with people. Like if you have a photographer friend, just like try ask them if they needed like an assistant, or I mean, I'm always down for an assistant. So, I
Yeah,
can
nice.
or I'm sure like other photographers would be cool, having someone just to teach and give
Right.
information. Yeah.
Right. Or attend those really cool photo walks that you
Yeah.
hosted.
Yeah, in
Yeah.
Barcelona, it was super cool. But
Yeah.
everyone's asking me like, when are you doing the next one? And I'm just like, oh, I don't know.
How did that come about? Was it it was in Barcelona. Was it in collaboration with Adobe?
Yeah, so I
Yeah.
am a Lightroom ambassador, so I got that
Mm,
opportunity through Adobe. And
awesome.
then yeah, then it was just I organized the walk, and it was just so like 20 people came. For me, that's a lot
Mm.
because it was
Oh yeah.
we were meeting at 7:30 in the morning on a Saturday. So that was
Right.
pretty cool.
Yeah. So there's always, yeah, you just got to show up. And those are always so much fun because you learn from the workflow of others as they're doing it. They
Yeah.
somehow look at something and you're just so intrigued, like, what are you looking at? And then you see their pictures. Whoa, cool.
Yeah.
I missed that. Yeah.
Yeah. When was the last time you did a photo walk?
Oh, that was a while back. I used to host them a lot during the start of Instagram. To be fair, I did host one here in Texas through a
Yeah.
partnership with a different company, and I was so nervous to host because I just moved to Texas, and yet I ended up loving it. Everyone was so open-minded. I
Yeah.
gave them each a task to like I let them pick from a kind of photographic style, and then that way they can go and find it. And we
That's
loved it. We
cool.
were just so, and I love some of them were a little shy, and some other folks were so bold, and it was so inspiring. So yeah, definitely getting me excited to try it again.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah,
And
I
also
just want to,
anyone,
yeah, go ahead.
no, just anyone in the chat that wants to, that's ever thought about doing their own walk in like their own community, like you'll be surprised. I was surprised. So you should try it.
Yeah, I know you'll definitely be like a little, it's a bit daunting, but being hands-on and just having a conversation about the thing that you like kind of like here, because we
Yeah.
partake in this really peculiar conversation that is specific to us, right?
Yeah.
And it just becomes really rewarding at the end. It's not you're not gonna walk out being like, oh, that wasn't cool. I mean, I
Yeah.
hope not.
I hope not.
Yeah. So we're going to be, I think soon we have like about 5 more minutes to jump into the artist spotlight. So definitely, if you want to kind of show us some of the ones that we just worked on for a few minutes before we jump in, that'd be kind of cool to see the ones we worked on today.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this was the first one we did. Just go to the before and after. We just yeah, we I think we did a little bit of color grading, tone curve, and cropping. Um, and then we went into this photo where we kind of before this was before, so we used the clone tool to move over the birds in more of a straight line. And
Mhm.
I think we didn't use the tone curve. We also just did a little bit of color grading, basic panel. This was the tricky one, the bringing back the skin tones. We used quite a bit of tools on this. I think we used, yeah, the color grading, the
The
white balance
underwater.
tool. We
Hmm.
used a lot of masks. As you can see, we have the radial mask, the subject mask, and then the linear gradient mask on the bottom and the top to sort of just bring a lot of light and depth in the photo. And yeah, then we went on to the GoPro photo, where we sort of brought those intense kind of turquoise blues that is quite typical from GoPro kind of photos.
Hmm.
And then yeah, we were doing a half and half and just bringing the clarity of the water. And we also used two different radial filters, or no, we used the select sky for the sky, and then we use the gradient mask for the bottom. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I love using the mask, and definitely the spot removal was a good trick there. That
yes.
I don't think I use frequently enough, but it's definitely helpful.
So the spot removal was just the Band-Aid clone tool heal, and then we just use the visualized spots.
Hmm.
You can just see how much, and then yeah, we worked on that. So if anyone wants to go try that, it will be fun.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna try that.
Cool.
It's one of those things I just like you lose the timing. It's kind of fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like therapeutic kind of in a way.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, so long as you're using a good mouse, it's therapeutic, or a good tablet or something. It's
Yeah.
very, very relaxing. Well, I think we're good to jump on the artist spotlight. What do you think?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So we here we have him.
Awesome.
Bertram Johannes.
Hmm. From
Um,
Netherlands. Ooh, I love Netherlands. It's so beautiful there.
yeah, I also like these photos are the landscapes and just the nature is so cool. So I'll just hop into one of these ones. So yesterday, if you watched our live yesterday, or if you're gonna watch the replay, we were talking a lot about foam photography and the
Mm.
characteristics of foam. So I really think you can get inspired by these photos. I think these are shot on foam.
Yeah, I think so. And
These
it's
are
just so
gorgeous.
exquisite, those color palettes. It's really interesting when you watch, excuse me, when you watch like just the presentation at the end of it, like just, I mean, sometimes I get lost on Behance just watching
Yeah,
presentations of photographs because they're just, you almost like step into that space for a second. We have a lot of landscape here, which is like a beautiful place to step into.
but it looks really like compressed as well. The photo on the right, it's like it's just got
Right,
everything in so much detail. It's so crisp.
right. I wonder what kind of lens that is to be able to compress it. Probably one of those. Um, I know that 72 to 200 does exactly that, but
Yeah.
being that this is film, could be something of that the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we have some framing here too.
Yeah.
We're fans of framing.
No
Yeah,
straight lines. I like the angle here, really. And also,
yeah,
I think with foam, it's so great to just not edit it. Like just try,
right.
align everything as much as, and then that's it. That's all you need to do. And it's just so incredible.
So funny, you attempt to edit it. I feel like when I do attempt editing film is more to bring the highlights down a little bit so they're not too blown out.
Yeah.
But otherwise everything just looks so good. It's so
Right?
funny how that works.
Yeah. The colors is just like even the green, it's like it feels like natural. It feels like you don't really want to
Oh,
mess
that's
with
some
those.
a really it looks like a challenging hike uphill.
Yeah. Does anyone in the chat know where this is? This is super interesting. Oh, I think these are kind of for avalanches, if I'm not
Oh,
mistaken,
so in case yeah,
to
there's
prevent avalanche. Yeah.
yeah, like mudslides.
Oh, or that.
Hmm.
So,
They they look kind
yeah,
of interesting, very curvilinear. So I guess that's
yeah,
probably what attracted his eye there.
very interesting photo.
It's also great to analyze some photos like this, like just being able to see the tints and tones of that green
Yeah.
um, versus that blue can give you a nice like starter of, hey, maybe I don't have to oversaturate that blue. Maybe I can desaturate it. Maybe I can make those greens a little closer to yellow. And
Mm.
that color palette is very harmonious. Um, Borrowing from the nostalgia film is definitely a great resource, I think, in my book. And I love these shots.
I love this one on the left as well because it sort of gives you a scale of how massive these sort of steel structures are. I think it's
Mm,
steel. Yeah.
that's a good point. Yeah. And having some subject matter there is always helpful because
Yeah.
it, right, you put a quarter next to a paper, you kind of know what it is. Or like a person, we always kind of know the scale. So it's helpful to
Yeah.
have a person.
And one thing of foam as well is the highlights always have like this texture and
Mm.
really, really love this.
This is like such a cozy time just watching these
Yeah.
photo series with my tea. For those of you who are wondering.
Is it the matcha tea again?
Mm. Yes. Rest assured, yes. Always there's a bit of an obsession going on.
Yeah, these lifestyle photos are so great. It kind of looks like a commercial for this drink.
Oh, it does. Yeah. I wonder if it was commissioned or
Yeah,
sometimes it's just aspirational, right? Um, I do think one of the best ideas that one as an artist can have is try to create some aspirational projects that help almost reel in or attract those potential clients that you want in the future.
yeah,
It takes a bit of work, right? But it also tests you. It's almost like a way to to do the project without like feeling the nerves of the pressure of it. So it's a nice, good exercise there on all accounts.
Yeah. And to anyone that wants to become a photographer or a lifestyle photographer or work with brands, the best thing you can do is just go somewhere with your friends and just have fun, practice the
Yeah.
lifestyle. And, it's kind of like not too posy in a way.
Hmm.
And like, yeah,
Yeah, and it's absolutely like cool to be that friend that photographs
yeah,
and be
yeah,
very bold with it and authentic and let folks know that you'll be using your camera quite a bit and then they won't feel like uneasy and you can get their natural selves in front of the camera much better. I know we all have a few qualms about bringing tech into nature, and I think I run into that quite a bit. But I think having respect for the craftsmanship is a valuable lesson for everybody involved.
yeah, I agree.
Oh, I
So,
love that space there. Oh my God, that looks like a wonderful space to just have a picnic.
right?
No, literally above the clouds.
That
Wow.
looks so amazing. And even this one on the right where, the subject is out of focus and the focus is on, this incredible background.
Yeah. Yeah, it could be like easily a throwaway, and it's like actually intentionally, I wanted the mountains to be my subject matter, my
Yeah,
main subject.
I think this was
Um,
very intentional.
yes, yes, I think that's a good composition.
Wow, this is incredible. I
Blizzard
just want
says
to
these
be
are,
here.
I know, take us there. These are visually delightful.
Yeah,
Yeah, well said. Yeah, these places sometimes I'm in awe um of all the nature that surrounds us. It's all over the world and just looks slightly different, right? And it's so beautiful to kind of have a presentation of this kind of perspective.
yeah. Oh, there we go. Swiss on foam. Yeah, it was all foam.
Oh, it does say that
Incredible.
Swiss
Yeah.
on film. Okay, yeah, I think we had somebody mention, oh, Canon A1s, Kodak Gold 200s. Um,
Wow.
yeah, we have some film savvy folks in our chat. Um,
That's cool.
yeah,
There's
yeah, this is so nice. Can we see that summer nights? I'm like, oh, well, okay, you jumped into that one. I
I
wanted to see
did.
that one too.
Oh, summer nights. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, these golds and greens.
So interesting to note also, some of these don't have that particular sharpness, and yet they emulate some a particular mood nonetheless. I think those are really interesting because they could be reserved to kind of create an eeriness for an environment or even for a moment, right? Like these kind of like smooth looks are often used for weddings because it gives it
Oh
a level of
yeah.
romanticism, but you can definitely kind of allocate that same style for something like nature, right? Why not bring some romance into the space of nature too?
Yeah. And even this one on the left with it's kind of like blurry. Kind of like it, it's
Yeah,
characteristic.
and black and white. It's like take away
And
everything, take away the sharpness, take away the color, and we
yeah.
love it.
And it's like a little abstracty. Oh, this is beautiful. I love the colors, the skin tones.
Yeah, this seems really like down your alley with the warmth and
Yeah.
this very sort of candid lifestyle shot.
Yeah. Seems to be doing a lot of these natural kind of lifestyle. Oh, I love the green in this one. So
Yeah, that
much
intentional
texture.
grain. Yeah, and sometimes that grain, if you notice, if you analyze it, it's not very uniform. So it's kind of interesting to sort of fluctuate that
Yeah.
within your settings in Lightroom.
Yeah. Wow. These are
It's
super
so
beautiful.
zen.
Yeah.
I feel like some sun music should be playing, you know. That would be so cool to add like audio tracks on your presentation.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
Just, just thought about
That
it.
would change. I mean, audio changes like moods completely.
Yeah, it just sort of takes you someplace.
This
You got
is
the
cool too.
visual, auditory. Oh yeah, that's really nice. I love the colors are so so we have the shadows really, really green. Those
Yeah,
shadows are really interesting.
it's so funny. Like, like he obviously is proud of this and he's put this on his profile for a reason. And it's just something about it, even though it's not perfect, it's like the imperfect that makes it perfect.
Yeah.
So I love that.
Yeah, I love that.
Ooh, I like the lights coming through here. Wow. This was a great capture.
I think yeah, that's definitely probably really tricky to take in the moment too, because well, one, you can't see it. Um, and also because then the light conditions are a little bit more challenging. You have like really, really bright, but then the nature is really kind of on the darker side.
Yeah.
And you're facing the light. You still got your subject there with his fellow friend.
But it's so cool because the subject is like they dark. They not, the background, they don't blend in with the background. They can see that they're a little bit more forward and they are the subject because they're different and they don't blend in the back. And then the nature in the back sort of like the shadows are very lifted,
Yeah.
which is really cool.
Well, that's actually another great post-editing trick. If you do meet a challenge like this, if you
Oh
wonder
yeah.
what would I edit in a film shot would be oftentimes I think highlights and picking up those shadows that
Yeah.
although there might not be like this raw information you would get from a digital format, it definitely kind of pulls that those shadows a little bit and allows like more texture to come through.
Yeah, you could do that and then have a mask over your subjects and then just kind of bring back the contrast on them.
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
Wow.
we love a new nice sunset.
Yeah. Oh, amazing.
And sunrise. Whoever's a fan of
Yeah.
sunrises on the chat. Those early birds. Very cool. I think we have maybe time for one more. Ooh, I love this dog. That
One more
that,
album.
that expression. Oh my God.
It's like profile picture vibes.
Yeah.
Like. So one more album.
Yeah, I think so. I think oh, can we see that? Oh, you want to see the summer days?
No,
Yeah.
which one you pick?
I think the summer days is cool. Yep, where we all want to live.
Where we all want to be right now.
Always and forever.
Yeah, the
Wow.
blues. The blues are gorgeous. I love them.
I also love like all the different criterias of umbrellas you see there. So it's kind of like every color palette within a photo is in
Yeah.
existence.
It's
But
kind
then
of
like
like it was staged as well.
it looks like a movie in that
Yeah.
way. Oh, I love this one with the little boy.
Yeah.
And looks like yeah, it looks like the mom is about to like bring a towel or maybe
Yeah.
she's not related at all, but there's a lot of story that my brain is connecting here.
Oh yeah.
Kind of allows room for me to kind of connect the dots.
Oh, and I love this little green in the corner. It's really nice.
The foreground.
Yeah, some nature,
Yeah, that's
some
a wonderful way to create like a sense of depth or just
yeah,
put some elements in the foreground.
yeah.
Oh, Blizzard is like resisting the urge to sing Summer Nights from Greece.
Oh
Don't resist it. Sing it along, even if
Same.
you're in the office. They're gonna be like, "Why did he just break out in song?" Because us, Adobe Live,
Adobe Live.
we insisted. Oh, that's
Oh,
awesome.
wow. I love this perspective, like from the bottom looking up in these little narrow streets.
Yeah, I also like the sudden close-ups, right? Like you go from, hey, a wide angle, here's the view of the landscape, and here's sort of like this intimate close-up, an intimate look up.
Yeah, the lemon.
Sarah recognizes location.
Yeah.
LOL Sevilla.
Oh,
Awesome.
amazing.
I believe
Nice.
these are film as well, right? Yeah.
I think so, yeah. This is beautiful. I love the pinks, magenta, red, so beautiful.
I also love the typography in the restaurants or the signs of the restaurants
Wow. Oh, here we go.
and the
This is beautiful.
bougainvilleas.
Yeah. Yeah, once again, we can see the shadows are quite lifted.
Yeah. I had a plant of bougainvilleas at my wedding and now they're flourishing so much.
Wow. Do
Yeah,
you
it's
have,
so they get really big.
yeah, they do.
Mm.
You have them in the garden?
Yeah, it's like it's a small one. It's not as big as this one's like a planter and
Um,
it's already like growing out of control.
well, it means it's happy, so that's
Yeah,
cool.
it's happy. Yeah.
Cool. So these are super nice. Do we have time for one more album?
I think we're gonna be able to jump back into at least one more of your photos to check out your workflow and close in on that. But this has been really wonderful. I think the doing these artist highlights are always really
Yeah.
inspiring. And so remember, you can always recommend an artist spotlight. I think at the top of the chat, we have a form that you can fill out and recommend some of your fellow artists, people that inspire you through your workflow too. That's really awesome. You never know who's going to end up here. We get to explore a little bit of their work. Yeah, so I think we're going to be able to jump back into Lightroom and continue chatting with Sia about her workflow and some of her really cool shots from the ocean, deep in the ocean.
Cool. So yeah, I think we're pretty much done with this one. I think so. This is the before and the after. I mean, we could still. I would personally spend a little bit more time on this one,
Yeah.
but I think maybe I would just bring the skin tones a little bit, and yeah. But we use the mask tools again, the select sky and the linear gradient, which is super useful tools in Lightroom.
Yeah, I think that's one of like probably my favorite tools in Lightroom.
Yeah, mine too. We can, so this is super interesting also to edit because there's like a coral reef at the bottom, but everything, there's even a fish. I don't know if you guys can see.
Oh, I don't see it.
Okay, it's like,
Oh,
yeah,
wait, I
there's
see
like,
it. Oh my
yeah.
gosh. I see it.
Yeah, so we can try bring some detail.
They're so camouflage. Fish are always so camouflage.
Yeah.
Tricky little guys.
So we can just start bringing some of the tones in this photo because I think that will really change a lot. It's kind of flat, I think. So are there any questions, by the way, in the chat?
Let's see. Well, we have congratulations to Bertram. People love I think we
Yeah,
loved the artist spotlight. Definitely give them a follow. I think that's also it's always awesome to support our fellow artists. Yeah, I think no questions so far, but definitely questions are welcome. Um, yeah, let us know how you're liking the Lightroom Classic workflow so far. I think it's really interesting to kind of have an insight on Classic. I know that one can be a bit overwhelming for folks, but I think we like simplified it quite a bit here. I got a few tips myself.
Yeah, I definitely think Lightroom CC is a lot easier, but with Lightroom Classic, it's really cool too.
Yeah. We're still rooting for Lightroom Classic. Yeah,
But yeah,
everyone's mystified on how you take these photos. I mean, it's beautiful.
yeah,
Are you just like hanging out underneath the water?
yeah, exactly. I was actually trying to capture this exact like moment. Actually, let's try the white balance. Yeah, so usually in the beginning, I just try go for the white balance, but especially with underwater photos, but I forgot to do it. So yeah, we just kind of bring this a little bit down. And then just try bring back a little bit of clarity. See, it is quite tricky. I mean, editing underwater photos, just because it's so difficult to try like remember what the colors were, how it should look. Uh, Trying to get rid of that density as well.
Yeah, it brings out all the textures. And this is one of those photos I just want to have like on my wall.
Yeah, after it's edited really, really well.
Until we press the done button.
Yeah, we need a done button.
Yeah, I struggled to say that. That was a lot of D's and B's. Mm. Yeah, Oliver says, all I love how the surface and the wave looks from underneath. Yeah. Yeah, it's starting to come, it's showing a lot more texture now, I notice, after you're doing a bit of that editing.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, with underwater photos, it's just going back and forth between all the tools and just try to um, start getting to a point where it looks more natural.
Right. You still don't want to kind of make it too uh fiction like. I think sometimes photos can start to turn into illustrations by accident.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because they're so abstract.
I was actually thinking this photo would actually be pretty cool if it was black and white.
Mm,
But I don't really have a lot of experience editing black and white. But I know at the
yeah.
top of the basic panel, you have the color and then you have the black and white.
Yeah.
Uh,
Do you ever
and
shoot black and white?
no,
And then
never.
mm, yeah, it could be
Do
fun.
you?
Yeah, I like shooting black and white raw. So then you can
Wow.
see a black and white preview on your camera. You can see the highlights and the shadows quite to a T. But then
Yeah.
once you bring it into the develop module, it still has the color data. So you can still play with the color version of it.
Wow.
Hmm.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's a really fun way to kind of do it on in the field and continue playing with it afterwards.
Super interesting. Yeah, I think I'd like to try that actually, like shoot in black and white.
Yeah. Yeah, we have about 10 minutes left before we bid adieu. So definitely drop in your last questions, comments, and all the love for Zia's work. Okay.
So I'm gonna add just a linear gradient and then try see if we can bring the coral reef to life. It was kind of like a brownie color.
I'm loving the teal all the way at the end. It's kind of drawing my eye to that like
Yeah, over here. Yeah.
vanishing point.
Yeah. And then, so yeah, we have the linear gradient that was just bringing the some color to the coral. Let's see, a little fish. Yeah. It's got a little bit of its like green stripes going.
Yeah. I wonder what kind of fish that is.
Yeah. I don't
There's
know.
always, yeah, there's always different populations in different places.
Maybe someone in the chat knows.
Yeah. You made it into this live stream, my little friend.
Yeah.
He's so tiny.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna switch to the before and after. So this is the before and the after. So a lot more clarity to the water.
Wow. Yeah, I
And
really like that. That's like, I mean, it was really dark before. You brought out a lot of texture, a lot of the texture and a lot more of the highlight information. You can sort of see that reflected a bit on that histogram too.
oh yeah, the histogram is a
We'll
little bit
learn more.
crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll dive into that. But it's cool. You can choose your, favorite tools. All
Cool.
is fair.
So now I'm just like desaturating the blue bit so that we can get more of the white of the foam from the wave that's breaking.
Mm.
And then we can just go back to do a little bit of sharpening. Cool.
This is really nice. Cool, Zia. So, actually, I think we're about to wrap up soon. Do you want to tell the folks where they can find you, a little bit about the work that you're working on, and anywhere that they can maybe check out your work?
Cool. So I mostly use social media to share my work. So if you want to find me on Instagram, it's Zia_Suarez. I post quite regularly on there, and it's like a lot of just like my lifestyle photos. I also post photos that I've done. Um, yeah, and then my website, it's just for my presets. It's presetsbyzia.com. So if you're interested to go check them out, but yeah, just check out my Instagram if you want and see the work that I do there. And
That's
also feel
awesome.
free to ask me any questions
Yeah.
about photography or water photography. Yeah, it'd be great to connect with you guys.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Sia. It's wonderful to have you part of this community. This has been a lot of fun. Definitely going to check out those presets myself, I think.
Cool. Thank you so much, guys. It's been so awesome. Also the chat, thanks for just communicating with us. It's been super fun and it's been a super fun live, like 2 sessions. Wow, that's cool.
You did it. Also,
Yeah.
remember, folks, to tune into the Adobe Creative Bootcamp, a new Adobe Creative Bootcamp with Alex Lazaris, where he's going to be exploring color palettes for your branding. It's really awesome to kind of develop your brand communication. And after that, also day 2 of stamps, I guess. I think I kind of missed that. Yes, stamp collections. Actually, I've always been a fan of seeing people who collect things. That's always really, really cool. So definitely check that out, folks. And thank you for having us today and joining us in Adobe Live Day 2. And remember, you can always watch the replay of Day 1 at your leisure. Thank you so much. See you
Bye,
next time.
guys.